Hello, I'm David Harper with the BBC News. More than 60 mostly Senegalese migrants are presumed dead after their boat was found drifting about 300 kilometres from the Atlantic island nation of Cape Verde. It was first spotted on Monday by a Spanish fishing boat. Joe Inwood reports.
A wooden fishing boat was found drifting around 320 kilometres from Cape Verde, off the coast of West Africa. Rescuers found 38 survivors, including children as young as 12. Also on board were the remains of 7 people who had died in the crossing. But on the 10th of July, 101 people had set off from Senegal. It's not known what happened to the other 56. Senegalese officials are said to be working to repatriate the survivors.
Legal officials in the US state of Georgia have requested that Donald Trump be arraigned or formally charged in court in early September, with a proposal for a trial date of March of next year. Our correspondent, Wera Davis, is in Washington.
Donald Trump and the other 18 defendants accused of seeking to overturn the results of the 2020 election have already been told to surrender or present themselves at Georgia's Fulton County Jail before Friday the 25th of August, when it's reported they may have mugshots taken and be fingerprinted. The setting of a trial date in Georgia, which still has to be agreed by a judge, is important, given the many other criminal and civil cases being faced by Mr. Trump and his intention to stand as the Republican candidate in next year's presidential election.
A White House official has said Washington will continue to seek the safe return of an American soldier who crossed into North Korea last month, a day after Pyongyang said he'd been seeking refuge there. The National Security Council spokesman John Kirby said North Korea's claims about Travis King couldn't be trusted. He said the US still wanted to know where Private King was and what condition he was being held in. North Korea broke its silence over the American soldier on Wednesday. Hundreds of extra Pakistani police and troops have been deployed in Punjab province after a crowd of Muslims burned down several churches and ransacked dozens of Christian homes. The violence was sparked by accusations that 2 Christian men desecrated the Quran in the town of Jarawala. Pakistan's caretaker Prime Minister Anwar al-Haq denounced the unrest and called for stern action against the perpetrators. At a US State Department media briefing in Washington, spokesman Vedant Patel expressed concern.
We are deeply concerned that churches and homes were targeted in response to reported Quran desecration in Pakistan. We support peaceful freedom of expression and the right to freedom of religion and belief for everybody. We are always concerned of incidents of religiously motivated violence. Violence or the threat of violence is never an acceptable form of expression.
World News from the BBC. A judge in Nicaragua has ordered the seizure of all assets belonging to a prestigious university run by Jesuit priests. The judge described Central American University, which is one of the country's top private colleges, as a centre for terrorism organised by criminal groups. Nicaragua's opposition says it's the latest attack by the government of Daniel Ortega on the country's influential Roman Catholic Church and other institutions that oppose his rule. Officials in Canada's remote Northwest Territories have warned that a massive wildfire burning near the regional capital Yellowknife may reach the edge of the city by the weekend. They said while rain was forecast, there were no guarantees. Ecuador's electoral committee is gathering shortly to decide whether a replacement presidential candidate selected by the party of the murdered politician Fernando Villavicencio will be allowed to take part in Sunday's election. Christian Zurita was proposed after Mr. Villavicencio was shot dead at a rally. Here's Leonardo Rocha.
The murder of Fernando Villavicencio, attributed to members of powerful drug cartels, has united Ecuadorian condemnation of the increasing threat of gang-related violence, but it has done nothing to improve the country's bitter political atmosphere. Just days before Sunday's presidential election, the party of the former left-wing president, Rafael Correa, complained that Mr. Zurita can't run for office because he was already affiliated with another party. As one of Ecuador's top journalists, Mr. Villavicencio investigated corruption in the government of Mr. Correa, and the two became bitter enemies.
The family of Leonard Bernstein has defended the Hollywood actor Bradley Cooper in a row over his depiction of the late West Side Story composer in a new biopic. Cooper has faced criticism over his decision to wear a prosthetic nose while playing the Jewish composer. Critics said it played up to offensive stereotypes. Bernstein's 3 children said they were perfectly fine with Cooper amplifying his resemblance to their father. BBC News.